Hey guys, so getting started on my third champs for the week here, and it's pretty similar to my second one, except I've had 3 of these and an extra Crusher Archaeologist mix in my last one. So in against this Super's toy defense, Vikings is typically my go-to. Usually my highest scoring, but I want to point out on Sam I do have 4 attack gadgets, so I don't have any main stat health. He did get targeted there. That's the first I've ever lost him. But in another toy defense previously, I had been using horns on Lola. I did switch them back for something else, but if you put the horn helmets on Lola and you use 4 health ones, she will survive these hits, and then they are forced to target her because Toy Marvin cannot remove taunt from supporters, only defenders. Here I stitched in a couple of screenshots. That's how it typically looks, or about 158. And Safari is another good counter for this. However, Safari, if you don't have your gadgets right and you don't have some health on little Eggy, typically he's going to get killed. Supers is the other high scoring attack team for this defense. And of course you want to use Sorceress Petunia with your supers here. She is the key difference. And then again, you're putting horns on Chungus to give him taunt, because it's going to get removed from Superbugs, but it can't get removed from Chungus because he's an attacker. So with Petunia, she has that ignore damage immunity skill for Arena, which makes a major difference in killing off Chungus here. So as you can see, this is really a solid attack team for this defense. You know, low to no risk, and it scores pretty well as well. And it also doesn't take very long. Anything in the 150s I consider good. 130s and below I consider low scoring. This one, since it has 3 supporters, of course I'm using Blackjack for those stuns. Going for Prissy first here. Although in the case of toys you can target Tweety first, because you have that extra stun. But I kind of just want to make it faster. Without making any actual risk. And this team really is useful against all variations of the Archaeologist defenses. The ones with Crusher, the full Archaeologist. It really doesn't matter what variation somebody's using. That team is the answer to all of them. This one here is kind of simple. Just going to use Woodsman. I don't see a lot of people using this team, and I'm not sure why. It's useful for a lot of defenses. However, I feel like a lot of people just didn't work on it. I tend to favor these teams that are partial rework and partial new tune. Because I go after the new tunes, obviously. And then since I already have, in this case, I already had 2 in the team, I felt like it was a lot easier to develop the team resources wise. And because I was already halfway done. And then of course I already had 7/7 on the first 2 tunes, and I only needed to worry about working up 2 tunes. So to me, in those cases, it seems like a no-brainer. As long as the team skills seem worth it, I definitely recommend doing it that way. You'll build teams faster and with less effort. I'd say a little cheaper too for those that actually spend on them. And then that's again a decent score. And it scores good versus a lot of teams. Citizens is another one that it scores really well on. You just have to get your timing down. This is something I've wanted to retry since I made my mistake. And if you watched my other video of my last arena, well, my first arena from this week, it was cringeworthy how I missed changing tunes after the taunt removal. And the second I did it, I was like, oh no, what did I do? So I'm glad I had a repeat chance to actually do it right. I'm not perfect. I wish I was, but I'm not. I make mistakes. So, of course, that is going to ignore dodge. And now I've removed his dodge and clear to kill him. So this is working out a lot more like I originally intended. And I'm really glad to see it. And although I do use this full team in some instances, and I know a lot of people use blackjack with this team, my blackjack's always tied up with toys. So that's not an option for me. You can also use, why am I drawing a blank on the name? High Stakes Hair, and he is great with that team. I don't seem to get as good results, and I wanted that extra AoE and taunt removal. So that's why I was looking for a better alternative. Here with Citizens, obviously I don't want to use Speedy because I've got 3 tunes that are going to counter. If you use Speedy, you're going to probably get killed on counter. You'll be lucky if he dodges, and sometimes he does, but you don't want to rely on just luck. And with Puma, you've got that extra stun, so it's a lot safer. And then should also be quicker to kill Scaredy Cat since he dodges. Citizens was another one I really went for. I love all the variations that so many of these tunes are older tunes. And you can really make up 2 full teams with Citizens that are actually good. I lean more towards this and the one with Speedy. But I do use Porky as well and Lola. And I'll try to work those into some future videos again, because it's been a while of me showing them. Porky's another one you can convert into a defender and has a stun move. And especially considering the defenses I got, I felt like that was a pretty good score. That's the only one that got me. And right on the first battle. Other than that first battle, I feel I did really well here. But it's not always this easy. It really isn't. There are times where I lose battles that should have won. Or I make mistakes and lose or 2-star. So if that happens to you, don't get discouraged. Just move on to the next one. Well, I hope this helps, and hopefully we get better bots next week. Remember, it all depends on what players are putting. So if you don't want to face a certain team, don't put it as your defense. All right, bye.